chill that didn't belong to early autumn. Ethan pulled his jacket tight around himself as he stood at the edge of the overgrown path, staring up at the silhouette of the house that loomed above the trees. Locals called it the Blackwood House, though no one seemed to remember why. Some whispered it had once belonged to a wealthy family who vanished without a trace. Others claimed it had been built on cursed ground where old rituals had taken place. For Ethan, the truth didn't matter. What mattered was the dare. His friends had challenged him to spend one night inside the house on Hollow Hill, record everything, and prove he wasn't the coward they all teased him for being. It sounded simple when he laughed it off at the diner that afternoon. But now, as dusk bled into night, standing here with shadows creeping across the path, it felt like something else entirely. The house rose like a corpse from the earth, its roof sagging, windows shattered like blind eyes. Thick ivy crawled across the stone wall, swallowing whatever beauty might have once existed. The front gates hung twisted on their hinges, as if they had been forced open long ago by something that never left. Ethan swallowed, lifting his flashlight. The beam trembled slightly in his grip. Just a night, he whispered to himself. 12 hours easy. Crunch of gravel beneath his boots echoed too loudly in the silence as he walked up the path. With each step, the air seemed to thicken, heavy with the scent of damp wood and something faintly metallic like old blood. The front door was already ajar, groaning as he nudged it open. His flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing a grand hallway long abandoned. A staircase rose before him, its banister broken in places, leading up into shadow. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like curtains, and the floorboards creaked beneath his weight. Ethan forced a grin. Piece of cake. Nothing here but dust. He set his backpack down in the corner inside it, a camera, bottle of water, and a sleeping bag. He planned to film parts of the night, upload it later, and shut his friends up for good. Pulling out the camera, he switched it on. The red recording light blinked to life. "Aight, guys," he said, forcing cheer into his voice. "Here I am at the infamous Blackwood House. Spoiler alert, nothing creepy yet. Just rotten wood and a lot of bad smells." His words echoed strangely in the vast, empty hall as though someone whispered them back. Just a fraction of a second too late, Ethan froze, holding his breath, silence. He let out a shaky laugh. Okay, maybe the acoustics are just weird. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't entirely alone. Exploring the ground floor, he found the remains of a living room armchairs with stuffing spilling out, a fireplace choked with ashes long cold, the wallpaper peeled in long strips revealing layers of mold underneath. He shone the flashlight across the mantelpiece and nearly dropped it. Scratched into the stone just above the fireplace were words in jagged letters. "We're still here." His throat went dry. "Probably kids messing around," he muttered. But even as he said it, he wasn't convinced. The letters looked old, the edges softened by time. He turned quickly, the beam of his flashlight darting across the room. For a moment, he thought he saw movement in the corner, a shadow shifting against the wall where nothing stood. He blinked, and it was gone. Ethan decided to head upstairs before his imagination got the better of him. The staircase groaned beneath his weight, each step protesting as if warning him to turn back. His flashlight trembled across faded portraits lining the walls, faces of men and women, their eyes scratched out. Creepy, Ethan whispered into the camera. Real original. At the top of the stairs, the hallway stretched endlessly, doors on either side. He chose the first on the left. The door creaked open to reveal a child's bedroom. A small bed sat in the corner, its sheets yellowed and stiff with age. A cracked doll stared at him from the floor, its porcelain face broken down the middle, one eye missing. As he stepped inside, the air grew colder. His breath misted in front of him. Then he heard it soft, almost too faint to notice at first. A whisper, Ethan, his name, clear, drawn out as if carried on the breath of someone standing right behind him. He spun, heart slamming against his ribs. The hallway was empty. The whisper came again, closer this time. Ethan, the flashlight flickered. He backed into the room, nearly tripping over the doll. His camera slipped from his hand, clattering onto the floor but continuing to record. Panic surged in his veins, but pride, stubborn, reckless pride held him back from running. "This isn't funny," he shouted into the darkness. "Who's there?" No answer, only silence. But in that silence, Ethan realized something terrifying. The whisper hadn't echoed. Ethan's pulse thundered in his ears. The bedroom seemed to shrink. The walls closing in. His feet lay a broken doll, its single glass eye glaring at him. His flashlight sputtered, barely steadying. He aimed it toward the hallway. Nothing moved, yet the silence pressed on him like a weight. Then came the whisper. Ethan. His throat went dry. If this is a prank, it's not funny. The house gave no answer. He grabbed his camera, the red light blinking. Playback revealed his own trembling voice. Who's there? Then, clear as a bell, another voice whispering his name. It hadn't come from behind him. It was inside the recording. Cold panic surged. His friends couldn't have set this up. No one was here. No one alive. Back in the hall, the corridor stretched longer than before, lined with too many doors. He muttered, just pick one and open the nearest. A bathroom. A shattered mirror. For a heartbeat, his reflection grinned with endless sharp teeth while his real mouth stayed shut. Then only darkness filled the shards. Ethan slammed the door, panting. You're tired, that's all. But the air grew colder. At the far end, one door stood stronger than the rest. He pushed it open into a vast bedroom. Curtains rotted on the windows, a sagging bed dominated the room, and a wardrobe stood ajar. Near the bed lay a cracked book. Dust rose as he opened it. Over and over, jagged handwriting screamed, do not listen to the voices. His skin prickled. Another page showed sketches of hollow-eyed shadows, and beneath them a frantic scrawl. Once they know your name, they will never let you go. The flashlight died. Darkness devoured him. When it flickered back, the wardrobe doors gaped wide. He hadn't touched them. Something shifted inside. Being found a pale, waxy face, eyes black tar, mouth grinning too wide for its skull. It stood perfectly still, waiting. Ethan gasped, stumbled against the wall. No, the grin stretched wider. The light blinked out. When it returned, the wardrobe was empty. Ethan staggered back into the hall only to find it changed. Longer. Endless. Doors multiplied on either side, each cracked open. From behind them all came whispers. Ethan, Ethan, Ethan. The chant swelled, overlapping, crashing like thunder. He pressed his palms to his ears, but the voices dug inside his skull. Stop, he cried. Silence, then a single voice, deep and final, seeped from the walls themselves. We found you. Ethan's legs moved before his mind caught up. He ran. The flashlight beam danced wildly across warped floorboards as he tore through the endless hall. Doors slammed shut one by one as he passed, echoing like gunshots. We found you. The words pulsed inside his skull. His chest burned, his throat raw. But he didn't stop until the hallway ended abruptly at a staircase plunging into darkness. He stumbled down. The basement smelled of damp earth, mold, and rot. Stone walls loomed around him, carved with symbol circles split by jagged lines. At the center lay a black ring of ash, browning bones, ribs, skulls. Some ancient and brittle, others disturbingly fresh. Then he saw them, footprints leading into the circle, not his. A whisper slid through the dark. Sit with us, Ethan. His flashlight flickered. Each time it blinked, figures appeared in the ash circle. First a few, then dozens. Eyeless with hollow sockets and silent, moving mouths. When the light steadied, they all faced him. He bolted, stumbling over skulls, scrambling back up the stairs as the whispers rose into a roar. He slammed the door behind him, chest heaving. But the house had changed. No moonlight, no windows. The front door was gone, replaced by a smooth wall. Every exit sealed. His dying flashlight quivered. From upstairs came footsteps, slow, deliberate. He crept toward the staircase despite the terror clawing at his ribs. At the top, the corridor stretched into darkness, ending in a single door carved with deep claw marks. His hand trembled on the handle. Ethan. The whisper brushed his ear. He spun nothing there. The door creaked open. Moonlight spilled from a cracked skylight above. At the center of the room, a chair. In it, a man bound by ropes, head bald, skin gray and tight as leather. A low murmur seeped from his mouth. Ethan. The head snapped up. Empty sockets stared, black liquid dripping down the face. The jaw cracked wider and wider until flesh tore. The whisper became a scream so loud Ethan's bones rattled. He dropped to his knees, clutching his skull. The figure convulsed, ropes tearing with a snap. It rose impossibly tall, lurching forward, floorboards cracking beneath its weight. Ethan grabbed his flashlight and shone it on the thing. For a moment it froze, Isla's gaze fixed on him. Then, in a voice deeper than stone grinding against stone, it spoke. You belong to the house now. Ethan staggered backward as the creature advanced, its twisted frame blotting out the pale moonlight. His breath came in ragged gasps, every nerve in his body screaming at him to flee. But his legs felt anchored, heavy as stone. The thing's voice crawled through his skull, low and venomous. "You belong to the house now." "No," Ethan croaked, his voice raw. "I'm not." The creature's hand lashed out, fingers impossibly long, reaching for his face. Ethan threw himself to the side, the floorboard splintering beneath him as he rolled. His flashlight beam flared across the room, briefly catching the walls where he saw them. Dozens of faces pressed into the wood, mouths open in silent screams, eyes hollow. The wallpaper peeled like old skin around their frozen expressions. The house wasn't just alive, it was feeding. Ethan scrambled to his feet and bolted for the door. He didn't look back, though he could hear the wet, cracking steps of the creature following him, dragging its body across the floor with unnatural speed. The hallway stretched endlessly again, as if mocking him. Every time he thought he had reached the end, the corridor warped, extending further into the dark. His flashlight flickered, weaker now, its cone of light barely piercing the gloom. "Run, Ethan," the voices hissed from the walls. "Run forever." He screamed wordlessly, pounding his fist against the wall as he ran. The plaster cracked under his blow, and for the briefest instant, he saw something beyond the wall. Through the break, not wood, not brick, open space. The world outside died, his heart jolted. The house was a cage, but maybe it wasn't perfect. Maybe there were cracks. Ethan swung the flashlight like a club, smashing it into the wall. Plaster and rotted wood burst outward, shards cutting his face. He tore at the opening with his hands, nails splitting, blood mixing with dust. Behind him, the creature roared. He forced his body through the gap, the wall tearing at his clothes. He felt hands clawing at his back, fingers brushing his skin, but then he fell forward, out, into cold night air. Ethan hit the ground hard, the breath knocked from his lungs. For a moment he lay there, staring up at the moon, real moonlight bathing his face. Tears streamed down his cheeks. He was out. He had escaped. But when he pushed himself up and looked around, his stomach dropped. The woods were wrong. Every tree leaned inward, their trunks twisted like writhing bodies. The ground pulsed beneath his palms, the soil warm, beating like a heart. And in the distance, rising above the tree line, was the house. Not behind him, ahead. It was impossible, but there it stood, its black windows glaring down at him, its roofline jagged like teeth. No matter where he ran, the house would follow. He stumbled to his feet, blood dripping from his torn hands. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no." The front door of the house creaked open. A warm, golden light spilled out, inviting, almost comforting. He could hear faint voices within, soft, gentle, calling his name like family, welcoming him home. Ethan, his body trembled. Some part of him wanted to walk forward, to step into that glow and let it swallow him, to end the running, the fear. But then he remembered the basement. The circle of bones dot the eyeless faces. He turned away from the door and ran into the trees. Branches whipped his skin, roots caught his feet, but he didn't stop. He ran until his chest felt like fire, until the taste of blood filled his mouth. When at last he collapsed, gasping, he looked up and froze. The house was there, towering, waiting. Its door still open, light spilling out, endless, impatient. Ethan laughed then, a broken, hysterical sound. He understood now. There was no outside, no escape. The house was everywhere. The ground beneath him split open. Hands, pale and skeletal, clawed out from the soil, gripping his arms, his legs. He thrashed, screamed, but the earth swallowed him inch by inch, dragging him down. Above, the house loomed closer, its shadow falling over him like a curtain. The last thing Ethan saw was its doorway, blazing brighter, a sun made of fire and teeth. The voices whispered one final time, filling his skull as the soil closed over his head. "You belong to us," and then there was nothing. The end.